Hello, my friends. Welcome to a review of Polo G's new album, Hall of Fame. I haven't heard any of the tracks yet, besides some previous singles that have been out for a while. One specifically is Rap Star, is one I've heard, but I haven't heard very much beyond that. I'll be listening to pretty much each of these tracks for the first time, then I will place it somewhere in the tier list. I should mention that I do have some bias. I'm a pretty big Polo G fan who enjoys most of his stuff. I'm in no way a music critic, and this is all just made in, good fun. With that said, let's get into the music. I just finished listening to track one, Painting Pictures, and overall, I thought it was a pretty strong Polo G track. More what I've grown to expect from him. You have his normal piano type beat, but there was also a lot of other stuff going on in the background, and it had a very, very strong and felt like heartfelt interlude in the middle, which I thought was pretty cool. He also mentioned some of his friends and other stuff that was going on. I thought overall it was a pretty strong track. If I had to place it on a list, I would probably give it an A tier, but remember that none of this is going to be final. I'll probably go back and change it if I feel some songs are stronger than others. Like if like all the songs are amazing, then this may move down to a B or even strong C. But for now, it's going to sit in the A tier. So after listening to Rap Star again, I can say it's just as strong as it's ever been, if not even more. Now that I know that I'm excited for other Polo G stuff. Rapstar, very, very strong beat, even stronger lines and bars. They're just very, very strong. I liked probably majority of them. Great choruses overall. If I had to put it in a tier list like I will, I would give it a light S to strong A. It may probably stay in the S tier afterwards, like if the other tracks are good as well. But for right now, it's going to be a light S tier. After listening to No Return, I can say it's a very, very strong track. I'm thinking almost a light S almost. I just love the feel to the track. I think Lil Durk and Kid Laroi both killed it. Kid Laroi, on his for the chorus, it was pretty good. I loved the vocalization that was there. It felt a lot less like a rap track, which can be good when you're with someone like Polo G, who is very, very rap heavy in his lines. I was expecting a lot from this track, especially with Kid Laroi, who they have worked with before, and Lil Durk, who is another Chicagoan. I think Lil Durk did great. Polo G, a sound I was not expecting to hear on this album. I was expecting it to be his normal piano type beat, just rapping over it. Very, very interesting sound. I liked it a lot. I'm probably going to give this. I don't know if we should go light S. I'll go a strong A. I think it was very, very good, top-notch track. Toxic, a very good name. I couldn't see where it related, but it may have just been I wasn't catching all the bars on a first listen. As you do remember from this, I'm listening to these first and then deciding a bit later. Toxic was a pretty strong track, I would say. I would maybe put it above Painting Pictures, but I think both of them are about equal in track quality. I like them both a lot. So I would say a light to strong A. Epidemic is another pretty strong track. It's what we've grown to expect from Polo G. It's the other track I heard before listening to it today. So after listening to it again, I say it does overstay its welcome a little bit. The last chorus I think was really not needed. You probably could have ended it after verse two, but there was still a lot of very strong lines, and it's just your typical Polo G track. I would give it a decent to strong B. I think it was a pretty good track, just not the greatest in the world, especially when you're comparing it to stuff like No Return and Toxic. Still very, very good stuff. After listening to Gang Gang, I would say it's another very strong track. Not, I wouldn't call it the strongest. I wouldn't compare like the feature to No Return, but I would say Polo's part was very good. I love the transition from Polo to Lil Wayne with the flame and the vocalization of it, and I think Lil Wayne's verse was also very strong. Pretty much what you would expect from a Lil Wayne feature. I would probably give this a strong B or light A, but I'm going to stick with my strong B initial feeling. We'll see how this other stuff turns out though. Boom is another very strong track. I love the chorus on it. Very, very good chorus. Like the way he flows with a lot of it and just the way he ends his bars, very, very clean stuff. I feel like it is a bit shorter than I would have liked, so it's not going to get the S or high A tier it deserves, but I would probably give it a light A. After listening to Blackhearted, it's a very, very good track. My real issue with it is it does overstay its welcome a little bit. Uh, they repeat the chorus again at the end, which I've shown I'm not the biggest fan of, but it is kind of hypocritical. I don't like it when it's too short, but I don't like it when they repeat the chorus. Still very good. Song definitely carried by its lyrics. The lyrics are just so good. I love the Tim Hardaway line. Very big basketball fan. I would probably put it up on the level of No Return. If anything, I'll actually make it a strong A and I'll move No Return up to a light S. I think that's a very, very strong track. I'm very happy with that. Broken Guitars is, I would say, an above average track. Probably so far the weakest on the album. I'm not real big on who Scory is. I would assume that they're a smaller and also Chicago rapper, but that could very well be wrong. They did actually have a great performance, though. I did like how they did it a lot as well. The track felt a bit shorter, and the whole Broken Guitars vibe was very good. I think the vibe of the song definitely carries it up to its B status, but I would say this is one of the weaker songs so far. Just finished listening to GNF. Okay, 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 and I can say this is a very very Chicago drill style track. You can tell with like in the chorus, a lot of the background vocalizations remind me a lot of Chief Keef's older stuff. I would say it's a pretty decent track. It's really not my style personally. I'm probably gonna have to list it after Broken Guitars. Uh, Very, very light B tier, strong C. Obviously, this is compared to Polo G himself. I would even say this would be most rappers in the game right now. This would be one of their top songs, but for Polo G, it's a light B. Very, very, very different style. I wasn't really expecting this from Polo G. I was expecting something more like his normal stuff. Not a bad track at all, though. Still a very good track. Definitely, I would say everything so far would go on a playlist. After listening to Go Part 1, I can say it's probably my favorite new track so far. Definitely a decent to strong S. I love it so much. I love G Herbo. Very, very good rapper. Loved his verse. I feel like he did it great. I love the chorus. Also, the intro and outro, where it's like Polo G almost singing a verse, but it's like sort of faded almost, where you can listen to it if you need or want to, but it's not a requirement at all. You can still enjoy the track just fine without it. It reminds me of Juice WRLD's "Used to" from Goodbye and Good Riddance, where he had just a random freestyle at the start and end of the track, where it's there, but it's not taking over the song. It was also, I think, the perfect length, about 2.5 minutes, with without the obligatory extra chorus in there. That's just hurtful to the track overall. I would say this is probably the strongest new track so far, obviously not including Rapstar. Heart of a Giant is a weird track. It's not bad, but it focuses a lot more on vocalization, which I guess would make sense since Rodawave is on the track, and that's sort of what he's known for. I wasn't really feeling it though. I feel like I couldn't really get into it a lot, and then I was hoping Rodawave's verse was going to carry it like most of the other tracks have whenever I started fading away, but it just didn't do it for me. I guess I'm just not the biggest fan of that style of rap. Not a bad song still, just not really my style. Like overall, like as a song itself, it's probably a B tier, but because this is my ranking of my opinion, I'm gonna put it in a strong C. It's something I probably would not put on a playlist just because it's not my style of music. After listening to Party Life, I would say it's like the last track, Heart of a Giant, except just a bit better. I feel like the vocalizations were executed much better than they were on the last one. On Heart of a Giant, it really took me out of the song, and this one it made me almost understand more. And I feel the baby feature, despite me being not the biggest fan, I feel like it was decently strong, similar to the Kid Laroi feature, except a much different style of rap. I would say it was a bit stronger than the Rod Wave track. I would probably list it right after Epidemic. Pretty good track. Not still not really my style, but I would definitely still put it on a playlist. Zooted Freestyle. I'm hoping that's how you say it. I'm saying sort of like rooted, except with Z. Zooted. Pretty strong track, I would say. I like the sort of. I'm assuming it's not a freestyle like most freestyle type tracks are, but I like the sort of feel where there's no chorus and how it sort of fades at the end. I felt that was very cool. I thought it was pretty good overall. I like the fade out at the end. I would probably put it a. I probably wouldn't put it over the Lil Wayne feature, but I would put it over Epidemic. I don't know how I feel about that. That may change later. Somewhere around this area, though, a strong B. Losses is another pretty decent track. I'd probably give it a light B. I love the feel to the track, and I felt Young Thug had a pretty good feature overall. I'm a pretty big Young Thug fan as well, so I'm gonna have some bias there, but I would give it a light B. I thought it was a pretty good track. So Real is, I would say, another pretty typical, I say, above average track by Polo G. I'd probably put it around the Epidemic range. It was a similar solo track, at least from when I listened to it. I thought it was pretty similar overall. Just his normal piano type beat and uh, just rapping over it. Obviously, like usual, you have his great lyrics and bars mixed in there, but I would say it's your pretty typical track. What I've come to expect from him is about this level. Fame and Riches, I would say, is a very solid track. Your, I know I've said this a lot recently, but your typical Polo G track, I would say a bit above average to his usual above average stuff, as well as the Roddy feature, which I thought was pretty good. I would probably give it a light A tier, maybe strong B, but leaning more on the light A side. I thought it was a pretty good track. I came into For the Love of New York with pretty low expectations. I'm not a very big Nicki fan at all. If anything, it's closer to the contrary. But I was pleasantly surprised. It wasn't the best, it wasn't the worst. I would say her verse overall was pretty good, and I would say Polo did great as well. I would probably do it not an A, probably a strong B. Not better than Lil Wayne track, but just a little behind it. As listening to Clueless, I can say this is probably my new, not favorite, probably a little behind the G Herbo one, but very, very good song. I feel like I liked it so much because I've been listening to so much, of just Polo flows, typical Polo tracks. It was very cool to get to see him take almost a backseat to Pop Smoke and Fievo Foreign. Uh, Very, very good track overall. I think everybody did great on it. It was like three-headed goat almost. All three of them were just very, very on top of the game there. I love the track. That's definitely a strong to decent S. And now we're on the final track, Bloody Canvas. Bloody Canvas was a very, very good song. Unlike some of the other stuff, it did not overstay its welcome because there was no chorus. There was instead interludes, helping progress the story. Very much a story-driven song, reminded me of some older Eminem kind of stuff, except with Polo G's flow and vibe over it all. I would consider it a very, very good track, something you're going to want to learn all the words to. Uh, Definitely on the better side. I wouldn't put it over some bigger hits like Toxic and Boom, but I would probably put it in the middle, like a little better than Painting Pictures. Uh, I would consider it a very good track, though. Different vibe from everything else, but I got chills multiple times listening to the song. It was pretty good. No final changes immediately pop out to me. I may move Blackhearted up to a very light S tier, but beyond that, I think I agree with how I placed most things. I think I'll put Epidemic over Zooted Freestyle, but beyond that, I think I like what I did with this list. Tell me what you think of the list, or if you have anything else. I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Eyasu. He's a very big Polo G fan, and he was letting me know the album even came out today. I wasn't keeping up with it. So he's the reason that this list is even a thing. So Eyasu is a good friend of mine. I've played with him a couple of times before, even on the channel, actually. Thank you for watching.